Hello and welcome to my economic short presentation on encouraging carbon taxes and subsidy reform. The purpose of this presentation is to outline ideas for how to measure and prioritise policy action to increase the relative price of carbon-intensive fossil fuel use. So, for example, we might want to prioritise the carbon tax in the electricity sector because such a sector is highly responsive to price signals. This can be seen by the experience of the electricity sector in the UK after the imposition of the carbon floor price a few years ago. So how do we estimate emissions reduction potential of carbon taxes? To first order, the reduction in emissions from carbon taxes can be related to four factors: the existing size of the carbon burnt in a relevant country sector, for example, the electricity sector in India, the size of the carbon tax that you're imposing. The higher the tax, the more the reduction in emissions. The existing prices of specific fossil fuels that are used in that sector. So, for example, coal is a cheap fossil fuel, whereas oil is expensive. So, the lower the existing price, the greater the relative effect of the carbon taxes. And the price elasticity of fuel in that sector is the fourth factor involved. So we can use a simple isoelastic model to work this out. Since carbon taxes affect the entire economy and energy sectors, the total emissions reduction potential from carbon taxes across the world is very high. The potential is also, furthermore, not limited by economic and technical factors, but rather it's limited by the political realism of the tax imposition. Therefore, what is considered realistic, politically or otherwise, is a key constraint. We estimate the potential of a specific country and sector according to the methodology on the previous slide, and that gives us some estimate of the potential. So, finally, then, how do we prioritise? So if there's lots of carbon taxes and so on in the world that could be introduced, but we need to somehow prioritise which of those carbon taxes should be the most important. And these are the following factors that I think are important: the potential, as we've just described, for emissions reductions, the strategic importance of a sector or a country sector for decarbonisation scenarios, the ability to influence long-term physical investment. So if a carbon tax influences investment choices, that's highly important. The transformational potential. That could mean that a carbon tax can transform and reduce energy prices in electric cars or renewable energy or storage, such as flow batteries. The influence on other sectors, so the electricity sector can be used to decarbonise as other sectors, such as transport, using electric cars. And then the influence on other jurisdictions. And this means that coordination of carbon taxes is perhaps even more important than carbon taxes themselves. That's it for my short presentation today on the ways to encourage carbon taxes and subsidy reform. Thanks for your interest.